Hey, what's up everybody? This your girl Kiki, and this is Kiki Pretty Life 23. What up everybody, this is your girl Kiki. So I'm going to show y'all these crochet pins that I just have finished. Now these didn't take me very long to make. I think they took me about a week to make, and they're made with all granny squares. So if you want to see how I made these, stick around. So first we're going to start off with this Premier puzzle yarn that I have here, and it is the color, what's it called? Hold on a second. So the color ended up being Riddle once I fast forwarded it, but so yeah, it's a really pretty nice baby blue color, kind of like a jean color. And then I'm using a 6.5mm crochet hook. So all I'm doing is just a basic granny square. There's plenty of tutorials on YouTube of how to do this, but if you do want me to do a tutorial showing you how I do it, just let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, I'm doing about 3 rolls of this because 3 rolls was big enough for me because of how big and thick this yarn is. And then I'm using a pretty big hook, so I was able to pretty much get done with this granny square at a reasonable time. And I did about a few, but I kind of like did it as I go. So I made granny squares as I made the rows of the pins, so that way I could see how many more I need for each and every row. So after I made my certain amount of granny squares, then I just end up crocheting them together side by side. So this is pretty much how I did it, just crocheting each and every one. And I started off with 4 at first, just to kind of test to see how it would fit around my waist. And that's how it looks once it's stitched together. But I crocheted them in a row, so this ended up being about 5 total once I was able to kind of test out how it looked around my waist. And pretty much how I tested it out was just, you know, as you can see, I'm wrapping it around, and plus I have a very curvy body. So when you have a curvy body, you can't just do the same amount of granny squares per row. You kind of have to alternate it, like you have to do less squares as you go down. So, and I have a big butt too, like I have a little booty back there, so you want to make sure that it covers it, you know. So I ended up doing 5 total for the top part, and I ended up doing 2 rows of this. So I ended up taking another row of 5 granny squares and crochet them together to look like this. And then once I did that, I tested it again to see how much I needed for the next row after that. So that's how I pretty much was able to test to see how it fit around my waist. So you can see, like in the booty area, you can see it's covered in it pretty well. I can honestly rock this as a skirt because it looks pretty cool as a skirt, but we make it pants, so you know we want to kind of finish it. But that's how it looks once I tried it on, and it fit pretty good. So pretty much at that point, I'm just creating more granny squares as I go, and I did end up taking a little break and worked on the trims of the pins, only because the way my mind works is when I do the same thing for too long, I kind of need like a little mental break from it. So I did end up working on the trims a little bit, which you'll see in the background, the white part, that was the trim top part of the pins, which I'll show you later in the video. But you can see just from this point out, I was just making granny squares as I go for the next several rows for my pins. So that's what I was mainly working on. So then after working on the next row, I just went ahead and tested it to see how it would fit around my legs, and I ended up doing about 4 for the next one because I didn't want it to be too tight, but I just wanted to fit just a little bit looser. So I did end up doing 4 rows for the next one, and I ended up doing 2 more rows of that. So now at this point, I'm just adding my rolls as I go. So this is pretty much how I do it. So I just put it on the inside of the pins, flipped inside out. And then I'm just taking some yarn and just crocheting all around that roll, the outer edges where I got it flipped inside at. Now, one trick about this, and it's so easy to get lost while crocheting this, because if it's flipped on the wrong side, once you flip those pins inside out, you might have one row that you accidentally crocheted inside out. And so I wasn't paying attention and I did end up messing up a couple of times. I think I only messed up once during this entire process, but it's just annoying because once you mess up, you gotta like take the yarn right back out. You gotta, they call it frogging, so you basically just taking the yarn back out and start it all over, and that can make the project take a little bit longer than it has to. So I was kind of getting a little irritated because I did have to keep starting over and over and over, you know, but luckily I only have to do it once, so I just made sure I paid attention the next time. But as you can see, once I end up flipping it inside out in this clip, you can see end up being the right side. So but at one time I did end up crocheting one of the rows on the wrong side, and that was pretty annoying. So I ended up stretching out the project pretty good, making sure that the stitches were stretched out, and then I got a good look of seeing if I needed to add more rolls. So I did end up trying these pins on one more time before I decided if I wanted to add another couple of rows of granny squares or not, and to see if I had to decrease the amount of granny squares that I needed to add. So I just tested them out, and then I ended up adding more off camera, but you'll see the finished look once I get done with the trims here. And so for the trims, I use this yarn here. So this yarn is from Yarn B, Soft Secret is their line, and this is the color Ivory. And I wanted to do like a creamy white color because I felt like it would go good with the blue. The blue is a little bit more on the warmer side, so I felt like a more warmer type of white would look better with it than a white, a more cooler tone white. I felt like wouldn't really look good with this. Now on camera, it does look a little weird, and you know, like the blue does look a little bit more cooler, but trust me, if you were to see it in real life, it's actually more on the warmer side. And I think it's got to do with the camera as far as like the cool tone and the warm tones being set in it. So I feel like that kind of affects the color as well of what it shows here on camera. But yeah, so I did my trims on the bottom and the top part where the waist is at, so you will see that a little bit in the video. But you can see I'm just doing about I did about 9 chains for the bottom trims where the ankle is at, and I did all back loops. So it's a pretty easy stitch to do for all your trims when you're doing like cardigans or sweaters or shirts or whatever. You want to add that little extra, you know, fit to it to really like complete the project. That's pretty much what I did. So I did that all around the pins, and it didn't really take me too long. Like, it looks like it takes a long time because I'm using a 3.5 crochet hook for this, but it didn't really take me that long. And I think it's got to do more with my speed and, you know, how quick I am as well. So I feel like that has a huge effect on how long these trims really took me to do. So this is the top part of my pins that I was talking about that I was working on. So you can see I did it a little bit more snatched because since I want the belly part of my pins to be a little bit more snatched, I end up doing more, I say I skipped about every 2 stitches or so just to make it a little bit more tighter. And I am going to add some elastic as well to sew that in. So that's why I made it a little bit longer. I started off with I think like 13 or 14 chains for this one. And so it's a little bit longer on the top because I am going to fold it and put some elastic band in that. I also went ahead and added some pockets to my pants as well because I felt like, you know, what kind of pants are they without any pockets? So I did the pockets for those, and I did 4 total because I was going to add some in the back, which I decided not to. Plus, I didn't really care for how the pockets came out, so I am going to do them over eventually. I end up just keeping them there, but I am going to do them over because I just felt like the shape wasn't there. So I do got to practice a little bit more in that area as far as doing more like different shapes with the pockets that I do. But yeah, so that's just how they end up coming out. So these are the look of the pins once I was finished with them. So just like you saw at the beginning of the video basically. But yep, that's how they end up coming now. And I feel like the pockets really do add a nice contrast, doing them white instead of the same color as the pins. So it's just a really nice look to it. But otherwise, these pants fit really nice, y'all. Now the trims, I did not add no elastic to that yet because it actually fits pretty tight already, so I didn't want it to add any elastic to make it any tighter. But they fit around my curves so nice, y'all. And the only thing I will say about these pants is that the holes are a little big, so you will have to wear some leggings under this because your skin can show just a little bit through these pants, especially when you bend in and stuff. So just be careful with that if you do decide to make some huge granny squares with this, unless they're a little bit more of a tighter stitch. Then I can see the holes being small enough. But yeah, you can really make a nice outfit out of this. I am gonna have to get some creamier white shoes than these because the shoes are a little too clean, but otherwise for my first attempt it came out pretty nice, so I'm pretty happy with the results and I cannot wait to rock these. I just want to appreciate everyone for watching my video. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below. It's going to be below my video. And also hit that notification bell for more updates on my content. Along with that, you can follow me on my other social media pages as well for more updates on my other content that I post outside of here. But anyways, I hope y'all have a good one. Stay safe out there and stay blessed. Goodbye.